welcome back to my channel. I have another tutorial here for you guys, but it's not crochet, it's actually knitting. And here it is. It's like a scrap yarn bag. It's super colorful because I had a lot of extra yarn to use and I didn't know what to do with it. The yarn is doubled up, so you're working with 2 strands as you go along. And then for the color changing, so if you can look closely, for each color, so for the pink, I worked it 4 rows, and then I changed the other pink halfway through. So you work each row for 4 rounds, but you change it halfway. So you kind of get like a little bit of both color in there. This tutorial is super easy, super beginner friendly. I am a very much beginner knitter. I don't really know all there is to know about knitting, but I do love the way that it looks. So for this pattern, all you need to know is how to cast on, knit stitch, purl 2 together, and cast off, and then how to change colors, which I show you all of that in this tutorial. This is a good one to use up your scrap yarn. I know I always have so much scrap yarn from all the projects that I do, and I thought this was a good way to incorporate some color and some knitting into your life. It works up pretty quickly. You can also make it any size that you want. This is just the size that I did, but I will include instructions if you want to make it a different size. All of the pattern info will be in the description, and let me know if you have any questions. Alright, so I'm starting with my 2 strands here. Remember, you can use any strand of medium size 4 yarn for this, and we're doubling it up, so using 2. I've got 2 pinks that I'm starting with here, and I'm just going to make a very long tail because I'm doing a long tail cast on. And so I'll show you how to do that here. You kind of split your fingers apart, your index and your thumb, and then you pull it down and go under the left side of your thumb and then through that left side of your index one. It's a little bit difficult to explain, but if you're a visual learner, hopefully this will help you do that, or cast on any way that you feel comfortable, just casting on 60 stitches to start with. And once I have my desired number of stitches casted on, I'm just going to make sure that none of it is twisted, and I'm going to start working in the round, just knitting along. If you have one, it's a good idea just to mark that very first stitch so that we know the end of the round. It makes it easier when changing colors and counting the number of rows that you have. As I mentioned at the beginning, I'm changing colors every 2 rounds and working my color up for 4 rounds. So I'm just going to show you how I do that here so that you don't have to weave in any ends. We're going to be changing our colors using the magic knot method. So I'm starting with my color on the right side. It's underneath my color on the left side, kind of like an X. I have my blue underneath my pink one, wrapping the blue around my thumb, which is around both of the strings, and then wrapping it around the pink string and pulling the pink string through that hoop and then pulling on the blue yarn. And so this creates a knot that cannot be pulled apart when you pull it. I'm then just going to take my scissors and snip it as far as I can, just so that there's no extra loose ends. And then you just continue to knit in the round, changing colors every 2 rounds until you reach your desired length. I did 36 rows of knitting, and that also measures 9.5 to about 10 inches. Alright, once you've reached your desired length, we're going to start making the straps. I'm just working my last few stitches to finish this round off. We're gonna do, so we have one round of this blue and yellow color. Make sure that you stop at this round and start your cast off for the next round. So I'm gonna start by knitting 15, and if you're doing a different size of bag, just divide your total number of stitches by 4. So 60, we did 60 to cast on, and that's 15, so that's how I got that number there. So just knitting 15, make sure you keep track. It's good to use a stitch marker if you have one. And then as we cast off, we're going to need to knit 2 stitches. So knit 1, knit the second one, and then pulling that first one that we knit over the second one, like so. And so we're just going to count 15 casting off stitches. After you cast off 15 stitches, we're going to do another 15 knit stitches. And then our final round of casting off stitches, again, that's just 15. Okay, I'm just a couple stitches from the end. I'm just going to change my colors again using the magic knot method. I always change my color a couple stitches before I'm done because it takes a couple stitches for the color to actually reach the new stitch. And then just finishing my last couple of casting off stitches. Make sure that you have 15. It's good to double check as you go along just to make sure you have the right number of stitches. So we're going to be working each strap one at a time. And the first row of the strap is going to be knitting across our 15 stitches that we had. Then we're turning our work after each row. We have our other stitches just on the other side. We're not going to use them until we're done this one strap. And so this row we're going to be purling, and to start each row of purl stitch and to end each purl stitch row, we're going to purl 2 together. So we're decreasing 2 at the beginning and 2 at the end of each purl row. So I'm just purling 2 together. I have 2 on my hook and then pulling through those 2. And then just purl as normal until we get to the last 2 stitches. So I just have my last 2 stitches and purling those 2 together to finish that second row for the strap. We're now just going to repeat rows 1 and 2 for the strap until we have 5 stitches left on our needles. This should be 5 rows of decreasing because we're doing only decreases on our purl stitch row. Make sure you're continuing to change colors as you go. I continued the same sort of pattern that I was doing for the body of the bag, and I just had changed colors every couple of rows. So I did a total of 33 rows for my strap, including the decreases at the beginning. So now I'm just going to cast off when I've reached my length. This is also about like 9 inches if you measure it. We're just going to repeat the exact same process for the other strap. Since it's already on my needles, it's super easy. I'm just going to make a slip knot with my yarn to join it there, and that's how we attach that new yarn. And then making sure that I'm using the working yarn, I'm going to start my knitting stitches and then doing the exact same thing with the knit rows and the decreasing purl rows, repeating this process on this side. Once both straps are complete, I'm just going to sew them together using the leftover yarn from when I cast it off. I didn't really use a method to this, I just kind of sewed it together. And then I just wanted it to be a little bit like more as a tube at the straps, so I just tied it together by sewing it in at the ends and then tying it in a knot, just to kind of create it so that it wasn't it was more round. I don't really know how to explain it, but it was just my preference of how I wanted it to look. And then I just wove in the ends after I was finished with that. I'm now going to turn it inside out and sew the bottom edge together. Since I had such a long strap from my casting on, I just used that. However, it wasn't directly on the edge, so I just kind of sewed it until I got to the edge, and then I sewed it all the way back so that I completed the whole bottom edge. Make sure you tie a knot and then weave in your end at the end, and it's all finished from there. Cut your yarn and then turn it back inside out, or leave it right side out if you want. And here's the final project, all complete. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm sure you guys will love this project just as much as I did.